Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the episode. Hit that subscribe button. That way you can get all the new interviews that we put out, 3 a week, in fact, a new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover the new ones. You can grab us at Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, YouTube right here for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcast from. Subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, actor Carl Clemons-Hopkins. We're going to be talking about Hacks back on Max. It's season 3 of Hacks. Jean Smart, of course, playing Deborah Vance. And let's see, this time we've got a year after parting. Deborah Vance is riding high off the success of her stand-up special, while Ava pursues new opportunities back in Los Angeles. The whole gang's back here. There's lots of guest stars this year. Carl and I are going to talk about what it's like returning to a character for the third time, and Marcus's big character arc this time, faced with new challenges, gets to let go a little bit, still kind of side-eyeing a lot of the people around him. There's especially a big episode for Marcus, episode 8, called Yes and, that we're going to dig into. We're going to hear about the big topics that the show is covering, all that and more as we discuss season 3 of Hacks, out now on Max. It's Kyle Meredith with Carl Clemons-Hopkins.
Ew, I love this Prince poster.
Oh, thank you. It's my guardian angels over my. I mean, not everybody's dead, but few of them are. So, guardian angels either way. So,
Like that's the other name of the podcast. Not everyone's dead.
not everyone's dead. So excited that Hex is finally back for season 3, and you don't know what's. I mean, this is one of those shows, like, it's the rare show, right? That even after a few years, like, we're all still holding on. What was it like in this time between? Because it was, I mean, for everybody, it was longer on every project, but what was it like for
Yeah,
you all?
it was. I mean, it was frustrating, but also a real blessing in the fact that we still very much stayed in touch. We were very much tracking together, marching together, keeping each other up. Um, sending as much prayers and healing energy to Jean. She was going through her stuff, but it was also really heartening in the fact that we were so excited to get this out to you guys. And we're about 45% done when the strike started. Um, but all the scripts are already done. So we knew where we were going. So now it's like the Christmas we've been waiting on forever. We're just really happy that people not only are still excited to see it, but are really wanting more from us. That's just a good feeling to have, as opposed to being like, we're tired of this. We moved on. The fact that the fans are not only growing but growing with anticipation for it is really amazing.
And that says everything about the writing. It says everything about the acting and the characters and what you all bring to
Yeah.
them. Is there a difference returning to a character for the third time than maybe in the past?
For me, very much. We I feel like this show did a really great job of dropping us into the middle of these characters in this world, and our job as actors was to have as much information as possible to be these people dropped in the middle of the story the same way you guys were. And now that we're in season 3, we've built up so much backstory, built up so much development, and you get to know these people a lot more. And in this season, what I love is that we get to expand into the lives of more of the characters, more of the world. We have new recurring characters. We have new supporting characters, and we have old supporting characters. We just kind of keep expanding this Deborah Vance universe in a really cool way. So this season was a lot more, for me at least, it was a lot more fun. There's still an amount of exploration, still an amount of danger, and you're not sure what's what and how things are going to go. But having the backstory, having the precedents, having the foundation of seasons 1 and 2 underneath you, it's a lot easier to play around.
Yeah. So much of it, of course, is on the page as it's
Sure.
written. But coming back to Marcus, I mean, what is Marcus's growth this time?
Yeah, Marcus's growth this time is a lot of, well, first of all, he comes this season after a year of doing what he said he was going to do at the end of last season. So I think he's learned a lot about work-life balance. He's been going to the therapy. He's been learning about boundaries. A lot of the issues, I believe, with Marcus and Deborah specifically, and really Deborah and everyone is boundaries. That's a big thing with her and Ava, with her and Marty, with her and her sister. Um, and with Marcus, this is his time to really show and prove what he's made of, what he wants to do. You know, he's built this life with a lot of focus of Deborah. He's built this life also in a lot of, he's allowed a lot from Deborah. You know, the Deborah Vance that we meet season one is someone that Marcus has been working with most of his adult life, all of his adult life, and whatever growth and mindset shifts that she has, usually through Ava, um, is relatively new. So as Marcus is encountering a new Deborah, as Deborah is encountering new versions of herself, new avenues of her career, Marcus gets to really kind of sit back and is faced with, well, what do I want? What am I doing? You know, yes, I helped begin this brand and this industry, but Marcus is not in the entertainment industry. Marcus is not focused on Hollywood. And a lot of Marcus and Deborah's success has been out of Deborah being rejected from Hollywood. So now that she has this new embrace, what is Marcus to do? And so what I love about this season is that he gets to grow in ways, a lot of internal growth. He's speaking up and out a lot more, especially in episode 8. And he's also kind of recognizing the self-inflicted wounds that have been keeping him back. You know, the patterns of behavior that some got very honest from being around Deborah, but a lot of them is just, his own shit that he has to, I'm sorry, I really have to curse in this.
You are.
In this program. Wonderful. A lot of stuff is his own shit that he really needs to kind of come to grips with if he wants to grow. And so that's really exciting to play. That's really exciting to explore. And as someone I'm very, 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 very not like Marcus in very many ways. And so I think this season, I personally have been like, go Marcus, it's yours. Go get it. Get yours. I've had an opportunity to really cheer him on from the proverbial sidelines while also playing him. I'm excited about how he's been able to grow this season. I'm excited about what it opens up for him for the future.
Mm. Yeah, it's nice because there was a little bit of it in season 2, but if you're cussing, I'm cussing. He gets to have kind of a fuck it moment, it's like,
Yeah,
to let go and to see that happening. You brought up episode 8, and I did want to ask about that. Yes, and I mean, this is your time to shine. Like, do they give you the heads up? I mean, how do you go into this episode?
yeah. Well, so with this season and with previous seasons as well, I'll get a general summary, if you will, of what my character will be doing, how I start, sort of what brings me to how it ends, and that's really all I kind of have. And how it's parsed out, we'll get in the episodes as the episodes come. So once I got episode 8, I was over the moon about it, but I also had to like step back and measure and think, okay, how would Marcus measure this out? And what's great is that the events of the episode, in my opinion, really start brewing from episode 1 and definitely episode 2, because that's when we start to see the divide in Deborah from, how the special has brought her from Vegas comedian slash QVC empress into now she's becoming a Hollywood darling. And that was never the plan for Marcus and Deborah. So it was really nice seeing that a lot of the stepping stones to episode 8 were already laid out. But outside of that, you just kind of get in and ride. It's the writing is so wonderful and so funny and so dynamic, and we get to play around so much within it. And working with Elliot Knight, who plays the young man in the house, and Tim Bagley, who are seen in the bar, I really love that because it whenever Marcus gets to have contact outside of the Deborah fans bubble is always really exciting. So it was just a real fun approach and a real fun few days in quote unquote Palm Springs. to really explore the character and really just see him go through these trials, but also the fact that they're not new trials, the fact that he has a few things in his lesson backpack to apply, and then he gets to learn a lot more by the end of the episode.
Yeah, you said that getting out of that bubble, and it's noticeable too because so much of that it's almost like I felt like it'd be like what am I thinking like 12 Angry Men. I mean, it's just people in a room
Yeah,
and it's the same people, all the time.
yeah.
It's
Maybe you see one of those jurors go to Palm Springs. Yeah, it's very much that.
would have been a different movie, I expect. It's
I mean, if they're rebooting everything, I'd say let's do that. 12 Angry Men in Palm Springs. I can play at least two of them, so let's go.
but like it does seem like everybody sort of gets their spiral moment too.
Yeah.
Marcus's spiral moment comes in there. I like, is this something like, do you all share notes in these moments, or is just the weight on you? Like, what's the camaraderie when you're talking about like, okay, now it's your time to freak out?
You know, it's less that we share notes on these moments and more that we share uh, a catalyst and trigger in Deborah Vance. It's everyone in her world is so focused and dedicated on keeping their place and staying close to this entity that has, something that Ava's character says earlier in the season, actually maybe in this episode, but the idea of, her, I'm paraphrasing, but her standards are somewhat impossible. But if you can meet them, then she'll hold you close forever. And I think everyone in her world has seen and felt the very specific glow of satisfying this woman or doing something that she appreciates, being on her good side. And if you find yourself on the Deborah Vance good side, there's like no place you'd rather be. So when the thing getting in the way of you being on Deborah Vance's good side is Deborah Vance, the mind doesn't know how to compute, and that's how those spirals happen. And so I don't think we have to exchange notes on how that goes because we all recognize, each character recognizes exactly what that feeling is. And it kind of displays itself in kind of similar ways.
Yeah, that glow is real too. I mean, in our business, those people,
Yes.
and you grab a hold of it, yeah, you can feel it. Like
Yeah.
I understand it. I understand why, because that's the question, right? Like, why would these people stick around with her? Like, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very unique drug that has no real cure, and there's not very many programs to help you get off of it. So this is what happens.
Yeah. Um, we're also again in the third season. There is a part like always get to see the generational divide. I feel like you all
Hmm.
get to tackle very big subjects in a very fun
Hmm.
comedic way. Through this, I'd love to hear your take on that now as the seasons progress. I mean, because sure we are hearing or seeing this story of Deborah and Rise and everybody else around her, but there's big subjects just
Yeah.
behind her too.
There's huge subjects, and I love, one of my favorite things about this show is the way that they're able to tackle these huge subjects, the way that they're able to have these conversations in, you don't have to belittle or sound trite, but in often in simple, compact 30-minute situations, um, because it alludes to the possibility of these conversations happening in an easier way. I think of, sadly, there's a lot of people who think that their opinion takes them off of the same planet of people who disagree with them. And that's just not the case. And in my opinion, more than being loud or even feeling right or feeling that you have the biggest whatever in the room, we need to be having these conversations to reach resolution. We need to be, it's paramount on so many topics. Like we don't have enough time to cover the amount of topics we need to find societal resolutions to. And the fact that the show is able to bring up some of these very big, very real um, points and have these conversations in a different way, in a non-combative way, and in a way that happens to be funny, I think is so important, so necessary. And I think that's what, in my opinion, at best, that's what comedy can do for the world. So all of these huge conversations against the backdrop of these ridiculous plot points, uh, I think it's a beautiful thing, and it's really what sets this show apart.
Yeah. And it's nice because, of course it doesn't come across in any kind of preachy way, even though it could probably pull that off too. But every
Oh,
now
sure.
and then Deborah also wins. Every now and
Oh
then, and
goodness,
it's like,
her words about the waitress, her words about the oh there's been a few examples, and what I love about that is that it's very easy, especially currently, it's very easy for any show or art or person to take the point of view of, hey, I'm the current or newer generation, and I'm going to tell you everything you're doing wrong because everything you've done is wrong. I'm going to blame you for everything. And the truth of the matter is that that's not how the world works. We should be learning from each other. We should be growing together. If not, it's not growth. It's just, you can't just be a bitch to everybody all over the place. You have to actually listen. And so the fact that these conversations not only are uh, inclusive in the sense that they're not one sided, but the fact that it opens up the idea to certain people that, hey, yeah, there's people that are different from you or older than you or what have you that may have done things in a different way or have a different mindset. That doesn't mean that they have nothing to teach you, and it certainly doesn't mean you don't have something to learn. And my hope is that this show, with its reach, with its scope of audience, continues these conversations, continue these learning opportunities, because I think that's the only way any of us are going to make it.
mhm. Well, like I said, it's what is it, the old spoonful of sugar
Yeah,
to go along
yeah.
with it.
It
I mean, seriously, you do
or
it's the acting and the writing is so good in this. And I don't know, on the lighter side of things, Marcus is so good about stoic moments. And how do you hold a straight face in these moments?
oh God, the craft of acting.
We're professionals.
Yeah. But outside of that, I did a, I did a lot of work and research and crafting on early on who this person is, why this person is, and how this person is. And one of the things that I found in the creation of this character is that this person has had to hold his tongue for a lot of years, for a lot of things. Um, we don't know if or how he's been quietly educating Deborah or what. What we do know is that Deborah Vance, the comedian, the entity, whatnot, is a very specific type of person who has had to evolve to a point in her career. And then Marcus entered her life and has evolved to a point, and then Ava's entered her life. And what we see as an audience is the continuation of that evolution. But the truth of the matter is, this gay black man has been here this entire time, and he's been gay and black this entire time. So for me, the first question was how and why. How has he been getting along? How has he been going along to get along? Why is he so quiet? When is he not quiet? How does he make this work for himself? He also lives in Nevada. Nothing against Nevada. I don't live there. But there's a whole range of things that this person's had to experience, endure, speak about, not speak about. There's all these levels to his existence. So I think that is part of the building of that more stoic nature that you said, that more that brings that gravity to it, because he not only has he had to deal with the Deborah Vances of the world, he's been in with the Martys of the world, with the Rolodexes that they share. This has been his life, and he's made a very good life for himself from it. But I'm sure that has not come without compromise. So and it's also why I'm so excited about this season, and specifically episode 8, is because we get to see the beginnings of the facade cracking. We get to see all the things that have been bubbling up for years and years and years start to spew out in different ways. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so decisive toward the end of the episode and the season, of like, okay, something's got to give. I can't keep doing this. I think the first glimpse of that was season 1 with Wilson, and his first anything that wasn't his mother or Deborah Vance in his life. And I love how that relationship, Wilson played by Johnny Sibley, I'm really happy how that relationship has grown and blossomed into this season. It's helped give him a lot more of the balance that he's been needed from season 1, give him a lot more of the personal life that he was lacking. But this season, we really get to see how what was working for him for years and years and years is not working anymore, and how the, you know, lovely, brilliant young adult that Deborah hired all those years back is not the man that's in front of her now. And that man has to do something so he's not bursting at the seams all over the place.
Yeah. I love hearing your process in this, and seeing, like, I'll wrap up with this too.
Mhm.
Because you played James Baldwin in the interim, right? On stage?
Yeah, I played a conduit for James Baldwin's words. I don't
Okay,
want anyone to think that I
sure.
was that this not James Baldwin. But the conceit of that play with the director was from a technique developed by Anna Devere Smith, and that we had in ears in this conversation between James Baldwin and Nikki Giovanni, and as they're speaking, we're hearing and speaking, like,
Hmm.
and the idea is that this entity takes over the actor and you go forward from there, just to give some backstory to that.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to find the crossover and how you approach Marcus and all these big topics that we're talking about, and maybe your
Mhm.
experience coming across, like that maybe two very different stories, but it seems like there's
Sure.
probably a thread there.
Yeah, there's a thread there of the measure of one's inner rage or passions or feelings. You know, how much do you dose out? Do you do a drop at a time? Are you throwing buckets a day? James Baldwin's an individual who had a lot to say about a lot of things, and he often said in the most beautiful, brilliant, creative ways. Marcus is an individual who may or may not have as much to say, but the way in which he has to approach it is very much dictated by his surroundings, very much dictated by his own safety and protection, and very much dictated by how comfortable and confident he is with his own self. Um, and so I've never had to think about these two in this exact parallel, but I do enjoy. And then there's me, who is not like any of them, but definitely not Marcus, and I'm definitely not James Baldwin. But I would not be in the Marcus situation. I don't think. That's not that's not me. But I'm excited by something that excites me just as an actor in general. I'm excited by how much a character shows of himself. Um, I think that's really fascinating, and I love the opportunity to be in this situation. We're surrounded by these huge personalities, be it Deborah, be it Marcus's mother, be it just Las Vegas itself. The fact that Marcus has chosen for his weapon subtlety, chosen for his, you know, he uses his mind much more than he uses his mouth, and is much prone to I'll show you quicker than I can tell you. Um, for whatever, you know, trials, traumas, and tribulations that brought Marcus to Deborah, which we get to explore a little bit, a very little bit in episode 8. Um, for all of those things, Marcus has proven himself time and again to overcome them through what he does with his mind, with his actions, with his work, what he's done with this company, which is what he's done, what he does this season with the uh, potential threat to his company with the third party sellers and whatnot. I think that's really beautiful and admirable, and it's one of the things that I really respect about Marcus is that he's about it, but he's not going to talk about it too much.
Yeah. Well, it's so fun to watch it all unfold. I'm so happy that you all are back for season
Yeah,
3. Carl, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it. Seriously, it's been a real pleasure.
thank you, Kyle. I appreciate it.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week, new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.